This video is called Environmental Factors. We know that many of the tactics the government uses are many tactics that you find in preschool and grade school. Social isolation, why are you hanging with so-and-so? Don't hang with them, come hang with us. Following them around, bullies waiting for people by their locker, places they can anticipate that they will go because they've thought about it, talked about it with their friends, and have analyzed their victims' habits. Doing little bitch shit, leaving little notes in their locker, on their desk, tying their shoes together, little things. And for the same reason it upsets a child, it's pretty much the same reason it upsets an adult. Okay. So we know that they're not above this because the military has hazing rituals, fraternities have hazing rituals. These people are not above this. And a lot of times they're proudly displaying their fraternity signs on their cars long after they graduate college, and they are still associated with their fraternities long after as well. So when you see this happening, we know that people get upset about it, and sometimes they'll say, well, this guy needs time off from work, and this guy needs to see a psychiatrist. They're two different things. You have to make the distinction between something that's making you lose your head and something that shows that you have a mental illness. Most people are incapable of making this distinction, and psychiatrists, whether they're capable of it or not, have shown a reoccurring inability to perform the proper procedure for when people who are not mentally ill come to them. When people are not mentally ill come to them. So I will now assert that when somebody is being bothered, for them to go to their room, for example, and yell, "I'm putting hits out on all you bitches," or "I'm gonna kill you all and your families," is not out of the ordinary. It is the normal and expected human reaction to prolonged harassment, stalking, experimentation, drugging. Think of the case of gang members. They are on methamphetamines and the FBI is following them around. Perhaps they're dealing. Think about how they feel, how they react. Always looking out their window, acting quote-unquote paranoid, agitated, insecure. And then when the police finally arrest them, the FBI finally arrest them, after having refined stalking techniques, I might add, they might ask them, well, did you see us when we were doing this? Or they might, the suspect might tell them, you guys have me on edge, blah, blah, blah. And then law enforcement later on may say, in my professional opinion, based on my personal experience, this works as a way to fuck with somebody's head. The same reason the military flies over ISIS and they don't always do airstrikes. It's not just reconnaissance. It's also for the psychological effect. They're trying to keep them in a state of erratic behavior, in a state of paranoia. So, they make harsh and rash decisions that ultimately contribute to their downfall. So, even if one was to, at the end of the day, one was to continually say, I'm being persecuted by the scum of the earth.
Now that your calf has grown to be a bull, persecuted by the scum of this land. Persecuted by the scum of this land.
Okay, and they're in their zone, saying persecuted by the scum, and they're getting more and more angry about it, right? Is that a mental illness? Or are they losing their head as a result of environmental factors? Food plays a part in this. Drugs and chemicals in the food play a part in this as well. Also, your personal philosophy, how you relate to society partially a result of your personal philosophy, how you see things, your perspective. Okay, so now that I think we've established that pretty clearly, you know. What about when one is late? Sorry, I can't talk right now, I'm late. You know, is that mania? Or is that a direct result of environmental factors? And in the past, I've gone over when someone is raped, or when somebody has something urgent to say, they talk quickly. Or when they know they have a certain period of time. You see in the news, they talk quickly. Look at any news show, clips on YouTube, RT, CNN, you know. Well, that's it, we're out of time. Peter Lavelle, Crosstalk, see you next time, or whatever. Max Kaiser, blah, 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 we're out of time, blah, 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 blah. You know. Myself, I'm limited to 15 minutes. And when I talk slowly, as I am doing now, there's a lot of things that I want to say that I may forget, or I have to hold off to the next video. And losing your train of thought is a biggie as well. There are things that I perhaps will never say because I did not speak quick enough to cover everything that was going through my mind. So there's a laundry list of reasons for why one would speak quickly. Then there's cultural reasons as well. There's personal, you know, your individual speech patterns. We don't all talk the same. There's, you know, accents. And, you know, for example, the French are notorious for speaking quickly. A lot of people who try to learn French, myself included, have had trouble translating what was being said or understanding it, comprehending it, because they speak so fast. You know, cultural ones, national reasons. Well, that pretty much falls into the category of cultural, and so on. So yes, there is a genetic component to behavior, but more often than not, it is environmental, it is cultural, it is related to nutrition and health, it's related to stress, more often than not. Now, when you see people consciously ignoring these irrefutable facts, how could that be? How could you ignore that this person went to the military, went to war, all these bombs went off, he got his legs blown off, and now he's having post-traumatic stress? You know, was he born with post-traumatic stress? How about the guys in the shoe? Granted, there are people, because of their philosophies and perhaps their culture, are able to go through these stressful situations without losing their head. Okay? And that's a whole nother story for another day. So the minority of cases, there's a very minute, very small amount of people who start displaying symptoms of erratic, you know, of quote-unquote mental illness, or start showing erratic or abnormal behavior as a result of some sort of a biological dysfunction, genetic factors, you know, of directly a result of genetic factors, where the determinant is the genetic factors. The vast majority, you know, suffer as a result of the environment. So who are the social engineers? Big corporations, the royal families, the rich people, the elite, the ruling class. Okay? The ruling class are the ones who made the environment for the most part. They control movements, they determine who gets to be on TV, and so on and so forth. So it shouldn't surprise you in the slightest that they are downplaying the truth, they are downplaying the argument, they are downplaying the nurture part of the debate. It shouldn't surprise you in the slightest. They're the ones who own the pharmaceutical companies. They're the ones who write the legislation. Which one do you think they would rather say? It's your fault, take this medication and make me rich? Or, I apologize, it's my fault, perhaps I'm not fit to rule in the first place? Which one do you think they would rather say? You know, I'll leave it at that. Thank you.